We'd like to sincerely thank our Patreon supporters.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am sitting down in the front yard because this will be the first video with crutches and I guess a long series of videos with crutches. What we're gonna do in this video is without even explaining, here comes Kagan with a 50-gallon steel drum. Poor Kagan. Poor Kagan for having to put up with me injured and have to pick up, do everything she has to do and everything that I did. Kagan, how does it feel to do everything? Oh man, I love that positive attitude. I don't know if you guys remember when I purchased the house. For a couple months, we had a really beautiful palm tree as a centerpiece in the front yard here. Some of the nicer trees they had on the property and stuff are all in this area, and this one was the centerpiece. It got hit by lightning, we believe, and slowly started dying. Tom Holt was nice enough to give us a replacement palm. Maybe I can make it over there with crutches, or maybe Kagan will show it to you. She's reaching for the camera. It's a foxtail.
It is a foxtail, and it's actually one of our favorite palms. Fast growing, it's self-cleaning, it drops its own palm fronds, and the roots are cool looking.
So you guys saw the size of the pot, and here's the problem. I don't own a stump grinder, and I don't have any friends nearby that have them, being in a newer town to me. Here's the base of the tree, and I mean, really, in the current situation, all my money, my old situation is all my money was going to an attorney. The new situation is all the money is now going to doctors to figure out what's wrong with me. As if there wasn't enough wrong with me. Gotta laugh. So we've got to get rid of this stump, and not just the stump at surface, but we've got to get enough of this stuff gone so we could plant that other palm tree directly in its spot. And that foxtail will quickly grow into a really nice sized palm tree and replace this tree. So what we did is we picked up this 50-gallon steel drum for $10 on Facebook Marketplace. Still need to cut the bottom out of it, and then we're going to set it where that stump is. Kagan's removing some of the weeds. I'm also going to try and salvage as many of these rocks as possible around this. So I'm gonna probably sit down on that blanket and fill some of these buckets with the stones and work my way around, because I'm not mobile. Hey, you know what? How about an update with what's going on? Since that last video that announced what was going on, saw the orthopedic doctor. It is the fibula that is fractured. I don't know why I said it wrong in the other video. Well, I often,
a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot going on, and I often say the wrong thing. So that's what's broken. It's a full fracture all the way through radial. But he says it's gonna mend really nice. So they've already removed that large gray boot that was covering my whole foot. The big concern is the ankle and what's going on with it. Via x-ray, there are some bone chips that are floating around, but he doesn't know. The bigger concern is the soft tissue damage. And so tomorrow at noon, I get an MRI. And then it's going to be a couple days later before that's ready for him to review. So hopefully next week he'll get to see and know how bad the soft tissue damage is. He already suspects that there's going to need to be a surgery just by him feeling around, but we'll see. Let's hope for the best. The boot is ordered, one of those boots that will replace this, so it can be removed, firmed up and all that stuff. Right now it is extremely swollen, and So the boot will allow for that right now and will be able to be tightened as the swelling goes down. It will also give me a little bit more mobility as far as like taking a shower and all that good stuff. All right, the other stuff. We have a blood pressure monitor that's gonna be here tomorrow or the next day that I'm gonna wear and start tracking what my blood pressure is. I don't have high blood pressure. I have, well, I fainted, so that's showing low blood pressure, at least in that moment. But I know that I've always had, see, I'm not one of those guys that tracks all this stuff. I don't know what my heart rate is supposed to be and stuff like that, but I know that whenever they've taken it, they always go back and take it again. So something's always been, from what I understand, low, but they've always accredited that to the fact that I do a lot of cardio exercise, and that's why my heart is running more efficiently. So I think it's, my heart rate is low. But don't take any of that with a grain of salt. I don't know factually. I have my Apple Watch on. We're gonna start tracking my heart rate, and we're gonna track the blood pressure. I do need to see another doctor to get the MRI, brain. Next Monday, I go to get blood work done, and then they have a baseline to compare what I got in the ER last Saturday and what it was 2 years ago. So we'll be able to compare what's in my blood and what's going on 2 years ago when I had a small episode, the day I had the episode a couple days ago, and a day when I'm not passing out, what it's like. So that should help us figure out what's going on. There's a lot to figure out because, you know, lots of people are, you know, there was a lot of nice comments, and I want to thank everyone for their comments. A lot of nice comments. And it means a lot to hear how much so many people care. And
it's nice to have similar experiences to read about.
Absolutely, a lot of people with similar situations in their own life. But it could be dehydration. I could tell you that I know my own body and stuff, and tell you it's definitely not, that I definitely wasn't overheated, because, you know, I do this all the time. The drinking a couple beers in the sun, I grew up fishing, you know, and cracking a beer in the morning on a fishing day isn't so strange. For the most part, I eat really healthy. I work out, stuff like that. When you have a day like that, I kind of splurge. But that was a very relaxing day, so it was strange for me for it to happen that day, as opposed to a day where, say I had a 4-hour race where I was pushing my heart rate to the extremes. To me, that sounds like the day that dehydration or I was gonna have a heat stroke. If I was gonna have it, it would be that day, not a relaxing day. But who knows? And the other thing is the salt levels, the sodium levels, the electrolytes, like dehydration happens over time. I don't eat an insanely salty diet, and no, I don't eat pickles during the day. I like pickles. I don't eat them to replace all the salt that I'm losing by sweating. And it could be something along those lines. It could be very similar to Kennan's situation. It could be nothing but a diet change. So we're gonna figure it out in a very smart way before it gets insanely expensive. We're not gonna throw a ton of doctor's tests at it. Initially, we're gonna do the inexpensive things first, but we are being proactive and we're doing that. All right, Kagan has almost worked her way around the entire stump, pulling all the weeds out of the way so we can get to the rocks. I promise this entire video is not gonna be about the stump. We will sprinkle some animals in. Kagan's gonna have to do most of that. Right now, if a lizard got in the way of my crutches or something like that, I have no way of covering up my toes. You know how they love when you wear flip-flops. Those little meaty nuggets are the first things they go after when in a cage. Even a calm animal, I don't know why they get so excited about toast. Yeah, little sausages sticking out. They love them. it's gonna be a little more difficult for me to get in and out of enclosures and be around the animals, even though this downtime would be the optimal time to actually enjoy and hang out with them. We'll figure it out. I think once I have that boot in a couple days or a week's time, it may get easier. This is not gonna happen in one burn. The initial burn may only get me a couple inches down. I've never done it with a palm tree, so it could be better or worse than expected. But I mean, it's not gonna be a massive time suck. Today with moving the barrel, I need more of Kagan, but then the rest of the time, actually, you know what, I'm gonna need you the entire time, because it's a pain in the butt just to get up and go find that lighter. So I'm gonna lay down on the blanket and start moving some of the rocks. And if Kagan feels like she wants to go show you guys some animals when I'm doing that, or later in the video, that would only be a bonus for you. I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna show you guys once I remove most of those rocks, and then the next step will be cutting the bottom out of that barrel. All right, this is not working out all that great. Kagan even got me some screen to use as a scene and get the dirt out, but then I'm putting the dirt right back on top of the rocks. And when they did this garden, they didn't put a weed blocker down before they put the rocks in there. And what happens is some rocks just sink down into the earth, so it's like continuous rocks. I think she's gonna get the lid to Pickle's enclosure. We can use that almost like they do when they're sifting for gold in a stream. And then let some of that dirt just go into this yard. This yard could use a little bit more dirt in it in the front yard. And really, this garden needs to be down to this height. So when we put rocks in it, well, we put weed blocker down and then rocks. The rocks are about 4 inches high, 4 to 6 inches high. My nightmare right now is not paying attention to my foot with the, I don't know what you want to call it, wrap cast or whatever on it, and it be covered in red ants. We have black ants crawling around. They don't bite or sting. And I've seen some other ants, but I'm sure I'm gonna find red ants at some point during this project. I'm gonna move over to the drum. She got the cutoff wheel, and I'm gonna cut the lid off of it. Kagan's gonna be able to do this project better than me, and I know I was hoping this was something that I could do, but I just can't do it anywhere near as fast as she can. And this will probably end up taking all day if I did it at the pace that I'm doing it. Kagan's got Pickle's lid, and she's gonna use that as a large scene. All right, so we'll update you in a couple minutes when I move over to the drum. All right, I ran the grinder blade down to absolutely nothing. Normally I would just start it with a cutoff wheel and then slide a Sawzall blade in there and cut around, but it's cut out. That other piece will go to the road for one of the local scrappers. We always put a little pile out there for them with scraps. Kagan's looking at it as she may have a use for it. I can already see it. So funny.
It just looks like an art project.
But she was talking about all the things that she has to do, and now, whereas I thought I was doing this by myself, now I'm burdening her with helping me with this. We may push this off aside and wait till I have help on Saturday. Plus it's about to rain in a bit, so we'll be back when we have some other help. I was really hoping to be more useful. This stinks. This is literally driving me crazy not being able to do stuff. I have so much stuff to do right now. But I'll be back at it with help. All right, guys, it's the next day, and my nephew Jude is back in town here to help out. That's funny. We started this channel, Jude was a kid, now he's a man, just like that. Kagan is getting the battery for the Sawzall. Jude is grabbing up some scrap white pine wood that we can burn instead of throwing out in the trash. Kagan is gonna put the battery on the Sawzall, and then we're gonna run around the yard and find any palm fronds that are dead that we can burn, and we'll pile them up there. Got a little gas to start the fire in that red can, but So Jude has dug out all the rocks surrounding it and exposed the root ball a little more. We've set the drum up on some blocks. That way, some good oxygen can circulate through the bottom, and it's gonna heat the bottom of that fire a lot better. Fire needs air. So it's gonna create almost like a convection current and superheat the base of that tree, and it's gonna accelerate it burning. I've never burnt a palm tree stump before, so we don't know how much water it's holding and how good or bad it's gonna burn, but this has always worked for pine trees and stuff like that in the past. We're gonna gather up some more branches real quick, and we're gonna get this sucker burning. We've got the fire burning really well now, and you can see the amount of coals at the bottom of that barrel, and those coals should continue burning into that stump and work on that stump. I should also mention that he has been regularly hosing down the screen and the palm fronds on the trees surrounding the fire, so no little piece of ash that could be lit. Sometimes that ash has a little bit of a cherry on it, and it could land on some dry wood and start a fire. So he's been regularly hosing everything down. You can see the hose out there, hopefully in the lawn. I would walk further and show you a better view, but I am stuck sitting in the golf cart. I should mention my mom is also here today. Kagan's bringing me a water. Thank you, baby. All right, let's go. In the yard, some of the tree's branches are starting to grow lower, and they're a problem for me when I'm cutting the grass. This one slightly, but really I don't care if the mulberry bush is one of the ones with lower branches, because those are just easy to pick mulberries. But let's go find an oak tree that's hanging low. So this is a perfect example of a branch that's about 4 feet off the ground. It would hit me straight in my face while I'm trying to cut the grass. And so my mom and I are just gonna go around the property with the trailer and hit the lower branches. It's gonna make it look a lot nicer. You're gonna have a better canopy on all the trees. That's just regular maintenance with all the oak trees. And I should mention, one of the projects that we were gonna jump into was moving the tortoise area out here into the oak grove. And but one of the things we need to do is hurricane cut all these oak trees to allow more sunlight in, and obviously all the fencing to pen them over here. That project will be on hold like all the other projects until I'm able to walk around again. But that's what my mom and I are going to work on, and a couple other things that we just need to tie up. Mom, you want to jump in, and then we'll ride back over to the cart, and I'll show the viewers the other project. We're gonna go through these branches, and you guys can see how they hit. See, and those are knocking my hat off when I'm cutting the grass. So they just need to be trimmed just a little bit up. So here's the other big problem. Where we are building the wall down on the bar area, I have maybe a 5-6 foot piece left to frame the corner out and plywood. But it's gonna be a while till I'm back on a ladder. So I have some house wrap by a company, I think it's Tyvek, or maybe it's another competitive brand house wrap. It's a waterproofing membrane that will go over the plywood, because what will happen with that raw plywood, with it getting wet by the rain over and over, and pretty soon we're gonna have rain every day, it is going to start coming unglued, delaminated, and bubbling, which it won't be good for hanging hardy board on anymore. So it needs to be sealed. Even with that end that's not finished, we'll probably staple it to the next 2x4 over, which is 2 feet from the end. And then later I can just peel it back when I'm able to and finish framing and hang that last sheet of plywood, and then scab in some more Tyvek. We still have to do the gabled end of that bar and make it level to both sides and do the doorways. But for now, sealing it up, waterproofing it is gonna be our afternoon project, probably after lunch. I think Kagan, my mom, Jude, and we may have some other volunteers showing up, are gonna attack that project and get that done today. I did promise you some animals at some point. Oh, look who we got here. Kagan is gonna steal the camera and update you on some of the animals.
Let's go see some critters. Here's Kahlua sitting just inside his hide box here. This is actually one of his favorite places to sleep, right partially outside the flaps. And it's funny because we often walk out and Kahlua will have his head just like laying down sideways on this ramp, kind of at an angle, and we always have to stop and say, wait, Kahlua, are you okay? And Kalua's like, I'm fine. I'm just sleeping in a weird position. And I think that's actually a pretty common thing. Aldabra owners will know what I'm talking about because I have a couple of their friends that own these guys, and they all seem to say the same thing, is that they sleep in very strange positions and like to scare us with their silliness. Here's just a little update on the two young Lewisii hybrids that we have in the garage. They are getting so big. The camera is still a little weird for them, but here they are. This yellow light that is on them really does not show their color spectacularly well, but this one down here on the bottom cage is particularly blue on the sides, super cool. And I am thinking for their names, it might be Outlaw and Smoke Show. Let me know what you guys think as far as those for names. Outlaw for this guy, because he actually managed to jump out of his cage about maybe 2 months ago. He managed to jump out. We got him back in, but for a second he was a wanted lizard. The young Kamingi are doing so well. They are so stinking beautiful, and they are actually changing with every shed that they go through. They get just a little more bright, a little more yellow. Their blacks go away. There we go. Now we're gonna be curious and explore. Oh, and look at you. You just jumped on top of his head, you goober. They are awesome. They are probably excited for their daily swim, except the lid to the swim tub that I use for them is actually currently being used to separate rocks from dirt for the for the palm tree project. So something kind of fun right now. These cages that we have empty in the driveway, I've been bringing out some of my snakes just to get some sunshine. These girls came out here just today and they're all piled up in this back corner. Oh my goodness. But I brought them out just so that they could get a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of fresh air. Come here, Tulip. All right, there's Tulip. There's Daffodil. Oh, come on. There you go. All right. Daffodil's mighty pretty. There goes Ladybug. There's Tulip looking at us. Oh. And let's see. We'll run back to the back real quick and say hey to a couple more lizards. All right, so we are out in hallway 1. We've got Sally in her water tub here. Hey, Sally. What is you doing? Big girl, you never finished your quail eggs? Look at that big lady. All right. Let's see. Who else is out right now? Xander. Hey, Alexander. How we doing, mister? How we doing? You know, I love Alexander's face because he just has such a friendly looking face. Like, he's just what a ham. What a ham. You got a sweet face, buddy. You have a very sweet face. For those that don't know, Alexander is a Asian water monitor. He is an adult male, and he is a specific morph of Asian water monitor called sulfur, which gives him this unique coloration and pattern, the banding that's down his body, doop, 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 doop. And you can kind of see the color that he is on his head is a little cleaner than the rest of his body. When he sheds out, right there, you see those really bright scales right there? That's what all of that would look like if we had him on clean substrate, which is the plan eventually, to get all this dirt cleared out and have them on sand so that their true color comes through and he'll look so beautiful and not dingy and brown. But we'll get there eventually, won't we, buddy? One thing at a time. There's a lot going on right now. So this is pretty funny because this female in this enclosure is a sulfur. So just like Alexander, she has that beautiful coloration and banding, and you can see these divots in her enclosure where she loves to dig. You can see the inside of her lay box is always dug up. But her new dig spot, she actually hollowed out underneath this little log, which is kind of the perfect spot, really. And she has made a little hidey hole right here. Hey girl, I like your little secret fort. That's pretty cool. Now, because she loves to dig so much, you can really see how dirty she is. I mean, sulfurs are often known for their bright, beautiful yellows and awesome coloration. But because of the stinking dirt that they're on, they stay so dirty. So I'm really excited to, not necessarily excited to dig more, because that is a lot of work. But I am excited for the end result of it all, to actually see these animals on clean substrate, and it really brings out their colors. And I just like the look of the enclosures too when it's sand. You know, maybe if this dirt was a little different, then it might change my mind a little. But all right, let's see who else is out on this side. It is kind of a hot day, so all of our iguanas got fed earlier and everybody has retreated back into their hidey holes. Oh, look at this. This is going to be interesting. So I think we showed this in another video. There's lots of digs going on in this enclosure between Shrek and Diamond. So maybe that's a good sign. How cool would that be to actually get eggs so quickly? They have been two cuddle bugs together. Hey guys.
What you guys doing?
He has been pretty non-stop hanging out with his girl here. What you doing, Shrek? What you doing, Shrek? Too cute. Those two are too cute together. Look at the way he's got his arm around her neck. What lovebirds. How adorable. Everybody is away. It is so stinking hot. Even Kalua is trying to create a wallow here. You can see he's exposed some of the moist dirt underneath. He's kind of dug it up and pushed it aside. He's trying to create a nice cool wallow for him to go. Come on. Come on. What are you doing? What are you doing, Lua? What are you doing, Lua? You got some nice hibiscus this morning, didn't you? Yeah, you got some nice hibiscus this morning. Okay, buddy. And pretty soon we are going to try to reintroduce the groups of tortoises. We have Ludwig and Sebastian hanging out in here. They have been loving this hide box. This is actually the one that Chris and Emily used to use for them, and they brought it over to us, so they are back in a safe space, something that they feel comfortable in, something they know. And when we go to try and reintroduce them, of course, we are going to film it. We are going to get in touch with Sam first and just, you know, ask if there's anything that we need to know prior to doing that. But that is going to be a whole day endeavor where we sit there the entire time with the tortoises just to make sure that they don't do anything silly. Oh, and here we go. Is that you, Ludwig? Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. He's like, if you don't got food, I'm not interested. All right, I'm gonna bring you back over to Mom and Jerry. So they had cut some branches off of the mulberry tree and we're taking them to the road to be taken out. And I was like, wait, we can actually feed those mulberry leaves to the iguanas. They will love them. So I got them and brought them in here. I've got Tequila here chowing down on some of the leaves already. She's been taking little bites out of them. She's got some on the ground. I ended up just staking the ends of these branches into the ground, and maybe it'll help them last a little longer if they've got access to a little bit of moisture and water by the base of the stick. But Tequila's been enjoying it. It's Tequila approved. Let's see. Now Frank, whenever I walk by Frank, he tends to get distracted and only want pets. Oh, look at this. Look at this. I've already got Angus right here nibbling the tops off of this. How cute is that? Oh my goodness. Are you enjoying it, buddy? Oh, you're going to the easy access ones in the bowl. What do you think? Is it good stuff? Oh yeah. That's awesome. Caught him in the act. Let's glance over here. They haven't discovered theirs yet. So Frank, we're gonna offer him a leaf, but Frank tends to want to just post up for pets. You wanna try it? Try it for me. Try it, buddy. Come on, Frank. Give it a nibble. Yeah, good boy. Oh, yay. How good is that, Frank? Yummy stuff, huh? Yummy stuff. What a good guy. That is awesome. I am so glad that they're enjoying it.
All right, guys. So I think that fire has gone out. My nephew Jude is now helping my mom trim those branches that are hanging down. Our buddy Kevin Gilbert has come over today for something else, but he's also going to help and volunteer for a little bit, which is nice as can be. I don't know how to repay favors like this. When do I have time to repay favors? But I will eventually.
As long as I don't fall off the ladder and break my neck, I'm good.
Yeah, please don't do that. Please. This is almost 2 days later, and yesterday I did almost nothing. Kagan had to, well, Kagan didn't do nothing. I had to sit on the couch. My foot was so swollen. It was, we just had to pull the brace off and ice, let it rest, ice, let it rest. And I didn't get anything done yesterday. Not that I'm getting anything done today or did the other day. It was technically always other people. And that's what it is today. My mom came, and my mom and Kagan attacked the Tyvek wrap, or the house wrap, which Kagan will show you in a moment. When she takes the camera, I'm sitting on a 5-gallon bucket because that's all I can do. They removed the barrel, and so far it looks like the fire didn't do too much. Maybe the palm tree stump is holding too much moisture, but they've removed the barrel. Kagan is just gonna, you don't have to go crazy at it. That's the whole thing, is the fire is supposed to do the work. Just kind of lightly, yeah, all right. Well, that says a lot. You're supposed to just lightly, it's supposed to be charcoal. It looks like it didn't even do an inch. Like it maybe turned an inch into charcoal. So that's what I was afraid of. If it was a pine tree or an oak tree or whatever, the sap would have literally just kept that stump burning, and it would have burnt into the ground, because the palm tree trunk is just, it's like a sponge. It was holding so much moisture. It actually prevented itself from burning altogether. Sorry about that, guys. That was just a dark image. It looked like one of those police interview videos where I didn't want my face revealed. So wait a second, Mom. Rockabilly here, Mom. Huh? So my mom she just wants to attack it with the Sawzall. I don't think that's gonna do a lot.
Listen, this
is
her therapy.
she wants to attack it with the Sawzall for a couple minutes. I'll let her. Maybe we need to just let it rest and dry out, which I don't see how it could dry out being the rainy season. Or maybe now that we burnt it, maybe the second burning will get a lot more done. What I will do is, my mom wants to attack it with the Sawzall a little bit. We'll let her, and Kagan will show you what they got done with that house wrap. It'll be protected until I'm well enough to get back on a ladder and get back to work on that. So here's the box.
All right. We've got Pete the foreman here. Oh, Pete. And here is what we did today. It was getting this Tyvek wrap up on the sides of the plywood here. Now there are 2 sheets, and it is overlapping about 2 foot there. So we didn't want to have to cut it. We just did it like that. We'll scoot on over to the other side. It was ridiculously toasty today. We were both sweating our butts off up on the ladder, and it's funny because we started on this side, we were in the sun, and then we did lunch, moved over to the other side, and then the sun was on our backs over there, and of course we're in the shade here, so we should have done it the opposite, but that's done. I know that's going to be a big weight off of Jerry's shoulders, and he won't have to worry about that plywood warping when it rains, because it rains frequently in Florida right now. We are in the midst of the rainy season, so we see a lot of moisture. All right, let's see if Mom's Sawzall action, let's see what it did.
All right, Jerry got the axe.
Oh.
He's tried to chop, but...
You tried to chop?
And I feel it already.
Oh, baby. Well, that did more than the burning did. Okay. Well, we'll give another update when we figure out exactly what it is that we're gonna do next with this guy.
All right, we have a different game plan. they started cutting little pieces off with the Sawzall, but then the pickaxe came out, and Kagan is gonna make a little notch on the roots. You know, a palm tree doesn't have roots like a regular tree, big old wooden roots. It has a whole bunch of 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch roots kind of coming out like spaghetti so far. And not really much of a taproot. They kind of just have like a little ball of that. So if she puts a notch there, we could back the tractor up, put a chain. As long as there's a little notch for the chain to sit in, we could probably hit this with the tractor a couple times and see if the tractor can't loosen it up. I should also mention that they plunged the Sawzall, which you would never do. It destroys the head of your saw and the blade. You never cut in sand, but we're gonna call it a sacrificial blade, and we're gonna clean the head of the saw out really well. I use the cordless more nowadays. That's the corded one. I really don't do any heavy demolition work where I use that one anymore. So they plunged it straight down and cut the roots a foot down all the way around the tree. The whole root ball is embedded with those stones. This tree probably started as a couple inch round tree with a rock bed around it, and it grew into the rocks. So it's impregnated with these little river stones, which makes cutting pretty difficult. But as long as she gets a little notch for the tree, right, or for the chain, we'll be good to go with the tractor.
All right, well, Jerry said he wanted to feel useful. Oh, that did something. Okay guys, so it is actually the next day. Mama Wolf came back over and has been digging all day long to clear this area around the stump. She went down like 2 foot, cleared so many stinking roots, and we tried to pull it out again with the tractor, and it just didn't work. Jerry had this awesome idea. He said, you know what piece of machinery we have on the property that is even stronger than the tractor? This winch that is on the Jeep. So how many pounds did you say this thing can pull?
I mean, it's a snatch block on the cable doubles the power of a winch. So it's should be like 13,000 pounds pulling power.
All right, so 13,000 pounds pulling power. We got the Jeep out. We got the snatch block. We got the winch. All right. And there she finally goes. Holy cow. What do you think, Evie? That was a project. Holy smokes. This isn't just some little stump. This thing is big.
Breaking a sweat over here.
Yeah. You're breaking a sweat.
About as much of that winch line that I could pile up on that one side.
Okay.
So we need to unchain it, and then the tractor will have to get that into the tractor.
Oh gosh. All right.
All right, we're back in the front yard, and of course Kagan is at it again, working her tail off. She got the weed blocker. Let's see if I can do this crutch with it under my armpit there. And she got all the rocks around it cleaned out, leveled, weed blocker, the light back on the tree. I think we just need to trim that one dead branch, and she's moving the unsuccessful burn drum. It will work in the future. In fact, I'll show you guys when we burn another tree. It does work. It just didn't work on that soaking wet stump. And I wasn't in a real position to test it out. Maybe drill a hole in it. Would have saved a lot of time and effort. She's loading up the cart with some dead branches. We still have that stump to move. And in an upcoming video, I don't know, before or after, we'll be moving both of those out of here, and you'll see why. But it'll be nice to clean this up. I think my nephew Jude is back here again tomorrow to help out, and I'm gonna beg him to pull weeds in the front yard, because that's something I usually stop for a moment and do periodically, and with everything poor Kagan has been doing, that is falling behind. And I think we have plans to get a mobility chair that I actually own. I know that sounds really funny, but years ago I broke my leg in a go-kart soccer game with some friends. That's right, I used to put on a go-kart soccer game every couple weeks, and all the grown-ups would jump on their modified go-karts and we would play soccer with beach balls. And broke my leg right before a Keys trip and bought a mobility chair so I could still go on that trip. So we actually have it on the shelf, but me and my very Tim the Toolman Taylor way tried to up the voltage to make it faster, and it's not a fuse I popped. I burnt something out. Hopefully it's not a very expensive thing. I'll have a friend glance at it, and if not, we'll take it to a shop and hopefully it's reasonable to fix. Otherwise, I think a used one's pretty reasonable to replace. But once I get that fixed, I will have more mobility to go along and do stuff like that. Right now, on the crutches, it's too high to do anything. I can drive the golf cart with my other leg, but I have to get off to like pick up a branch or anything. I'm too high up. So we're gonna figure that out so I'm a little more useful over here. As we're talking, you see Kagan is working away, getting it done. And we'll show you when it's all done. All right, guys, this is gonna be the near end of the video. Sitting on the lawnmower in the wood shop area, and like I said before, this is about the only thing I can 100% do on my own. We just picked up day before yesterday, or night before yesterday. Yesterday we tested out, gonna sell one of my Hobie kayaks that you guys know I love fishing off of. They're pedal kayaks, keeps your hands free for fishing, and for relatively the same price I could sell one of those. I picked up a used kayak with an electric motor that will be able to get on the water during this healing process. Again, we are still deciding whether or not to get the surgery. We're still waiting for the estimate to see how grossly expensive it is. I pulled the mobility scooter off the shelf that I had from a past surgery. I think we kind of bought it jokingly, but I've had it for quite a few years. Needs new batteries, trying to figure that out, but I'll be able to be a little bit more mobile on the property with it. I'm gonna jump on the lawnmower, cut the grass. Kevin Gilbert's coming over today. We're gonna film for a different video with him. Tom Holt's coming over today. Hopefully today we'll figure out a home for Blue. Like, all this is happening very fast. Amazing response from all the viewers. Probably 20 people saying that they're willing to take the time and take Blue in. So hopefully we have a decision today. We'll share that on one of the other videos. And I'm gonna cut the grass. I think I've got about an hour and a half till Kevin gets here and we start filming that. I'll end the video showing you guys the front yard. It looks awesome. The shop is sealed up. Everything is good to go until I'm ready. And now it's just taking care of animals and just maintaining the property and trying to get better. I'll show you guys that front yard. All right, guys, I'm back in the front yard. I finished cutting the grass, at least in the back. You know, again, I said in the beginning of the video I could do that on my own, but I got stuck in the ditch so bad, and poor Kagan had to come and rescue me. And she's never had to pull me out of the ditch before, because I've always just ran and got the tractor and pulled myself out. Stressful, frustrating, not being able to do it. But with good friends like Kevin, with a woman by my side like Kagan, my mom, volunteers from the channel. I know, Lori, you tried to make it here. I'm sure you will soon. Poor Lori got something in her tire when she tried to come help. Things can still get done, and that's a really good feeling. And I appreciate everybody reaching out and wishing me well and hoping I get well soon and all that. I really, really appreciate that. Sometimes life throws you curveballs. You just work through it. Keep your head up, work through it. Things will get done. And it's always a great time to have friends. Thank you, Kevin. Always, always. Thank you for helping out. You're a really good guy.
You're welcome.
So Kevin's here. We're finishing up another video with him today. Tom Holt is coming today, which is going to be awesome. He's actually the one who gifted us this beautiful palm tree that we got in the ground. Kagan finished all the rocks and put the light on it. It's going to look really nice at night. I did want to share that done at night. Just didn't happen. It's been raining every afternoon, so we're not going to be able to include that photo. But as always, guys, I want to thank you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell, comment. We'll see you soon.